But he said the elections were fair. James Paul, the elections, he said Mr. Biya did not win, but the president says the elections were free and fair.
I mean, we all are watching the United States on TV.
How did it go?
Well, in the United States, he won overwhelmingly. I mean, he beat those guys hands down.
Where there's a lot of opposition.
Where there's a lot of opposition. Where there's a lot of opposition.
Did you know there was no fraud?
No fraud. Clean and clear. You come, you cast your ballot. At the end of the day, they counted the ballots. Not only in the United States. He won in America, won in Belgium, won in France, won in Britain.
Difficult for those who were supposed to vote.
No, that's sir. We live in a developed country, and those people who work in the Cameroon embassy over there did a good job. It was fair, clear for everybody. If the opposition and these factions, you know what I call factions, right? You have the SCNC. Now,
you said about British Cameroon Independence Action Group, Britannia.
Now, how, with all these factions, would the government sit down and listen to each individual's interest? You know,
maybe
the SCNC.
Maybe the government shows its interest to dialogue.
You know what the SCNC does, right? You know, innocent Cameroonians who left here, came abroad, using the SCNC to get asylum, cannot now receive their documents because the SCNC is being considered, quote unquote, a terrorist group. Why? Because of the incident that they did in Boya, taking over a radio station. Okay? They used this issue of secession, stage riots for their own economic interests.
They are allegations because...
They are not allegations. There are things that they do. They write frivolous letters. I'm an attorney. I see it. Okay? I see it every day. The documents are there.
We're going to come back to this discussion, Mr. Vincent. We have one other issue to handle, which is still in connection, indirectly or directly, with the reunification of the two Cameroons in the economic capital, Douala. The youths in the Deido neighborhood staged a demonstration, confronted bike riders. We hear 2 people have already died in the incident. Tampu Harris now revisits what actually transpired in the Deido neighborhood.
The conflict sparked off from here. On the night of December 2, this compound, located at the Daido neighborhood, was set on fire. This woman was in the building with her children when it was ignited. She says they only succeeded to escape by luck and regrets that all her belongings were consumed by the fire. In a very emotional tone, she insists that her compound was set on fire by commercial motorcyclists. And that declaration marked the beginning of the conflict. Young people at the Daido neighborhood were furious and took to the street to attack the motorcyclist. This is becoming a way of life here. Now, the young people of Daido have just been informed that there are commercial bike riders coming from that way, and they're hurrying to confront them. Armed with clubs, stones and sticks, they searched for the motorcyclists everywhere. And the motorcyclists were also mobilizing in their numbers to confront them. When they finally met face to face, the young people went wild. The entire neighborhood was in total anarchy. Buildings were set on fire. Motorcycles confiscated and burned. And several people, including security forces, were seriously injured. At this moment, it was obvious that things were changing negatively fast. This is gradually degenerating into a major conflict, and this is likely not to come to an end very soon. The security forces are constantly complaining that they do not have the necessary material to displace the young people. For now, the water cannon is the only available means for them to displace the demonstrators. Water cannons continue to spread water on the demonstrators, but sooner or later, they were back on the street, threatening to destroy and kill, and they meant every word. Their actions could speak clearly. Security forces were helpless. They were widely outnumbered by the hundreds of the disgruntled young people. They told us that they had demanded and were waiting for reinforcement, but it was not forthcoming. It was at this point that Governor Fayengo Francis toured the neighborhood to diffuse tension. Hard as he tried, the atmosphere remained tense and unpredictable. Just then, we were getting fresh information from police sources. Police sources say 2 people have so far died in this conflict, and many have been injured. Tension remains extremely high. The chief of Daido is due to grant a press conference in the days ahead. He's likely to call on the population to stay calm and insist that this is not a tribal conflict. It is widely alleged that there are people inciting the young people to violence. Tamfu.
That was Tamfu reporting there on the conflict in the Daido neighborhood. Barrister, I saw you running away from your seat when you saw somebody being beaten with a stick in the Daido neighborhood. What do you make of this kind of conflict?
That is brutality. That's barbaric. You know, to see the government using water cannons on individuals for something that they failed to handle appropriately, it's sad. We certainly do have a long way to go to see the light, because we're still living in the dungeons, for real. To see how someone is being beat with sticks,
in front
water
of,
cannons,
under the watchful eyes of security forces.
Due to a policy that they had in place, which they failed to implement, is sad.
Mr. Vincent Veko,
yes.
You watch with us?
Yeah, I did. Well, I can only say it's a very unfortunate situation, and all this has its roots from the Constitution that makes a distinction between strangers and settlers. It's most unfortunate indeed.
Now, Barrister, the debate is still on about this particular Daido issue, because people are saying that it seems it is a minority problem. The chief of Daido, Isaka Ikwana, says it is not a tribal conflict, a war against the Bamilekes, but there are also talks of how the dwellers feel threatened. Now, the question is, from our constitution, putting words like indigenous and settlers, does that speak well for the Cameroonian constitution?
Well, when I review the preamble of the Constitution, I notice it says Cameroonians have a right to settle wherever they want to settle and to enjoy all the benefits that comes out from them settling in those areas. So I think they need to go back to the drawing board to make some amendments and to clarify some of those issues.
Now, motorbikes have been banned from circulating in some streets. In Daido, 3 streets, because of the incident. Now, does it mean anytime there is a protest somewhere or somebody is killed because of insecurity, the locals, they protest, they're going to finally send away motorbikes from everywhere in Cameroon?
Again, the government is looking for an easy way out, okay? Banning the motorcyclists from doing commerce, you're interfering with their livelihood. What they should do, they should go into the law, policy in place, 2008, execute it, implement it, not by banning the fact somebody who's trying to earn a living. It's commerce. The government has no right to interfere in commerce. They have no right.
Because the people pay their taxes.
They pay the taxes.
Vincent Feko, we're rounding up.
Please, let me just make this point before you round up.
Yes.
What I was saying, I was saying that what the United Nations prescribed for Southern Cameroon and Labour Cameroon, the new country was going to be Federal United Cameroon Republic. Now, the first president did away with the word united and created Federal Republic of Cameroon. But in the Second Republic, he created United Republic of Cameroon. And that was what Mr. Biya inherited. United, it's from that word that you have unification. So I was trying to say, to explain, that if we had anything to celebrate, it would be united. It would be unification, not reunification.
Okay.
Because what was inherited was not reunited Republic of Cameroon.
It was united.
It was United Republic of Cameroon.
Okay.
That is why it was on that ground that I said Mr. Biya has turned his priorities upside down.
Okay.
And in any case, the celebration, The celebration which he says he wants to celebrate.
It will take place in Boya, so he announced.
It is uncalled for.
Okay.
It is completely uncalled for.
We want to thank you for coming, Mr. Vincent Feku. Thank you for coming to be part of us.
Yes, thank you for inviting me to talk to you.
Thank you sincerely, Barrister James Epo. You are based in Houston, in the United States of America. Well, thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all.
Well, televiewers, thank you for watching this edition of Top Stories. Take the appointment, same time, next week.
There was a moving ceremony at Mogadishu Airport as African Union peacekeeping forces